Well, hello, everybody, or anybody who happens to be passing by. My name is John. Welcome to Old Folks Boogie 2, and this is my 15 minutes, episode 73. 73. This is the 73rd day of the year 2020. It's the 13th, sorry, the 13th day of March 2020. This is my 15 minutes. I do this every day for 15 minutes. I post it on YouTube. It's just thoughts. It's just me running off and delving into whatever I want to deal with and fantasizing about anything I want to fantasize about and making up stories and doing anything I feel like. It's my channel. I can do what I want. It has no social significance whatsoever. Except, where I'm angry at the social and then it has significance to me. Oh, God. So this is day number whatever of the coronavirus moment in time. I'm not going to get into it too deep tonight, but it certainly is progressing along pretty well. The attempts to slow it, contain it, or otherwise, have some effect on it, don't seem to be doing much except, well, we're closing schools, businesses, geez, oh, Pete. Although I was at two places today. I went out into the real world, took my chances. Oh, please. Took my chances. Anyway, I went to a dispensary down in Plumsteadville and had a little discussion with some people standing outside. Nobody really understands what the freaking panic is about any more than I do. At least none of those people did. None of them were out there panicking, buying out the grocery stores. And they were trying to get medicated for the indoor the confinement, being medicated for the confinement when the government finally says, okay, boys and girls, nobody's allowed out until 14 days have passed. And if you're sick, stay home. If you're not, you're out. You can come out. I don't. Oh, God. And the dispensary was busy. They would not allow everybody inside at one time. They did keep, the biggest chunk of us outside, and then they let in a couple at a time, so that when you were sitting down, you weren't next to somebody. You had plenty of space. And I thought that was, reasonable. At least it was warm outside today, or warm-ish. So standing outside waiting to get in the building was not a big deal like it would be on, January 1st at 10 degrees outside. But of course, according to Donald Trump, if it was warm, we wouldn't be having this problem anyway. Or if it was cold, we wouldn't be having this problem anyway. It's the warm weather that brings it on. Or I may have that wrong. Maybe it's the warm weather that kills it and the cold weather. I can't remember. But anyway, blame it on the weather. But anyway, so again, stop that stuff. So I went there, and then I left there and I went up to a thrift store up in Dublin. And it was busy. I mean, there's certainly a part of the discussion of every single person you listen to. If you're not talking about it yourself, you're talking about or listening to about the coronavirus from somebody, the news or anybody it is the topic of discussion. Why wouldn't it be? Like it's the first worldwide pandemic in my lifetime that I can actually remember being called a pandemic and being afraid. There may have been things that passed by unnoticed in my life. I don't know. Susan said Sam had the bird flu at one point in his life, and he was pretty sick with that. I barely remember it. She's shitty father sometimes. But, those are the memories that I don't keep and the ones that she does. Difference between us. Anyway, I went to the thrift store, and today had a good day. I found this little bitty, beautiful, really beautiful. Let's see if I can get it up in there. Yeah, there we go. See the brand name, Bulova floater. And I love floating clocks. Gold tone. It's certainly not brass, although I went at it pretty hard to scrub it. I had to clean. When I first found this thing, it was pretty ugly as far as the clock goes. I mean, it was the face, the glass was covered in film, and I don't know what all else. And the inside glass especially on the back here. This is look how nice they do. They put that nice cover on it. It's a Bulova. It's a quality piece. But anyway, I had to really work at it. I had to clean it up pretty good. And what I found was, and I didn't notice it at the thrift store. But when I got home and started cleaning it, I realized that the problem and what the filth was that was all over it was cigarette smoke. This thing sat in somebody's cigarette-filled home or cigarette-filled office for years. I mean, it was seriously years, because I smoked for 35 years or something. Yeah, a long time. I smoked most of my life, chugging those things. And I know what the cigarette, can do to the smoke can do to the surrounding materials. And I know how long it takes to build a layer up. When I started scrubbing on this thing, the white I was using, at first I started just wanting a little bit of Windex and see what was going on. And the interesting thing about this is if you start playing around with little quartz clocks, and that's the only thing I do, by the way. If I buy a clock, doesn't have a winder on it. It's electric, and I don't want to see anything else. See that? See how nice that is? It's just a little compact little mechanism, and all it takes is a AA battery, and it works. That's the thing that I look for. I look for aesthetic and the fact that it keeps time. But anyway, one of the things I figured out so far, I haven't been successful at all of them, but I have figured out how to take these things apart. For instance, this one, first off, there's two ways that this could come apart. It can't come anywhere else but from the feet, because that's the only way to hold it together. But it isn't. And at first, I have a clock that has this type of situation, a floater. And you have to actually remove the felt bottom and to see access to the Phillips head screws on that one. But then that's beautifully done. But these feet, I don't know if I can tighten them up pretty good. Yeah, the feet, they are the machine part. See? Right? And then here you got a little tab, a bolt, and that is actually attached into this bottom plate here. So you got a bottom plate, then another plate, then a bottom plate, top plate, middle plate, bottom plate, and there's 4 bolts. They're run all the way through. And so it was real easy to take it apart and clean it, much easier than normally. I thought in the beginning that it could be to remove the little black feet on the bottom of these pieces, on the black cushion on the bottom of the feet. But I didn't want to do that because they didn't look like they would. Yeah, well, anyway, but instead I just went like this, and the next thing I know, oh, look at that, it's loose. I figured it out. They're pretty easy, but once I started cleaning it, I mean, seriously, you should have seen the smoke. You can tell smoke film. You can see all the residue from it when you clean something with it white. Like I was using a white paper towel and working on it with cleaner. And I mean, I had it all apart. I mean, you can see this thing is pristine now. It came up like nobody's business. Oh, And I forgot to tell you, okay, this clock, this beautiful Bulova right here on the shelf at the thrift store, guess how much? $5.85. $5.85. Now, that doesn't mean it's a whole big expensive clock or anything. It's a nice clock. It's a beautifully done, well-made clock. It'll last for years, and now it's cleaned up and really nice again. And maybe it's worth $25 because it's a Bulova and it's gorgeous. It's a floater. I love floating clocks. They just have so much appeal to them. I don't know why specifically for me, but I even like not just floaters like this. This isn't my only kind of floater. But this is the floating in glass is just a really nice design touch. And there's a lot of clocks like that out there, especially in the gold tone or brass tone or whatever you want to call it. But the other kind of floating clock that I like is the ones that are embedded in crystal. So you have a big piece of crystal, maybe round, maybe oblong, maybe all, but sometimes that tiny clock with a little piece of crystal or a bigger piece of crystal with a bigger clock. Those kind of floaters I like as well. But then they all have to be quartz because I don't buy anything that isn't cheap and isn't quartz. I don't want to be, fussing around too much. I've had two that I can't fix. One of these days I'll find the right mechanism and I'll fix the one. The other one I ended up having to trash. But I have fixed almost anything else. I mean, I'm really getting pretty good at this. I'm really surprised at myself. I never thought I'd had any real interest in clocks, but for some reason I'm starting to enjoy it. But what I really can't wait to do is get to my first table, my first flea market table of the season coming up. I'm sure we're going to have a really nice weekend, either the next weekend out or the weekend after that. I'm going to take a couple tables and I'm going to put all my clocks and some other stuff out and see what happens. I just, I've accumulated quite a few clocks this last year. I sold a few too. I sold some really pretty ones this last summer at the Q Mart. Yeah, there was some. Yeah, I did. I bought some really pretty ones and sold some very pretty ones. But now I haven't been to the market for a while, and I've been accumulating a few more. I have a couple really cool pocket watch style clocks. They hang on, like little hooks. Oh, actually, one hangs on a hook, and the other one actually has a stand. Maybe I'll show that tomorrow night as I can talk about clocks a little bit, some of the things that I bought. But the pocket watch they are pretty cool. But it's always nice to get a find. $5.85 for that Bulova. I mean, think about that. That $5.85. But I did see the potential when I bought it too. I didn't buy it. It did say that they had tested it. That was the other thing. Although I do carry a AA and a AAA battery in the car if I need to. But it said tested, and when they say tested, if they say tested and you take it home and it doesn't work, you can bring it back. But I haven't bought anything that didn't turn out fine off of these guys. But it is such a pretty clock. That just kills me. I love thrift shopping. I wish I had discovered this many, many, many years ago. I mean, I've always done flea markets. I've always looked for bargains in all kinds of places. And I've been, over the years, I've been to Goodwill and Salvation Army a couple times. But thrift shops, I mean, I can get some stuff. You can get some stuff at the Goodwill as well. But thrift shops themselves, the privately owned ones, are the ones like the Mennonite ones that care and share, and the other ones that are doing charitable work. They're all doing charitable work, I guess. Oh, wow. of time here. Anyway, the thrift shops that are more independent, that aren't nationwide, have caught my interest over the last while. Anyway, it is now time to close it down. My 15 minutes for the night are up. I'm going to say goodnight. I tell everybody on this channel that's listening to me now to take care of your loved ones, and be kind. Good night.